Crush.
Hello, people. It's Evelyn here from ComMarketing, head of digital brand. We've got Facebook happening here. We've got Instagram happening over here. And I am going to take 2 minutes just to grab the post and share it around. If you're on the live today, give me a thumbs up. Say hello, let me know where you are tuning in from. That would be fantastic. And just let me know that you can hear me and see me. Today on Crush Wednesday, we are going to be talking about why your Instagram story views are down, way down, and what you can do about them. So welcome if you're on Instagram. Hello, welcome if you're on Facebook. I'm just sharing the live just so everyone knows that we are live today. So if you don't know who I am, my name's Evelyn. I'm the head of digital brand here at ComMarketing, and we go live every Wednesday in our Facebook group called Crush Your Fitness Marketing, and it's called Crush Wednesday, and it's just a mini moment in your week where we want to just give some value around marketing, around sales, around growing your fitness business, growing your health business, growing your any kind of business. And so hello, hi Cam, good to have you on Facebook. So today I want to talk to you about something that's happened just over the weekend, and it's why your Instagram story views are down. Okay, so if you've noticed that your Instagram story views just over the weekend, so from like last week to this week, have dramatically dropped, then let me know in the comments, either on Instagram or on Facebook Live, if you've noticed your Instagram story views drop dramatically. I certainly have, and I was a little bit concerned, but I'm going to tell you exactly why and exactly why it actually doesn't matter. So if you're ready, give me a thumbs up. We are live in our Facebook group, Crush Fitness Marketing, and on Instagram. Guys, on Instagram, if you would like to continue watching this live, then head on over to Facebook, Crush Your Fitness Marketing, and I'm going to continue on the live on Crush Your Fitness Marketing, and come over and watch it on there. If you're not a member of Crush Your Fitness Marketing, just request to join, and we'll get you in the group and you can hear the rest of this live. But I am going to be talking about why your Facebook, no, not your Facebook, I keep calling it Facebook, why your Instagram story views are all the way down, okay? So see you later, Instagram. Come on over and join me on Facebook. I would love to see you over there. And okay, guys, we're here. So I've noticed, right, over the last few months, let's just share this, over the last few months that my story views have been going through the roof, like just so many views on my stories. Like the last story that I posted last week, I think it was on Friday, got 400 views. That is not at all, okay, that's on my personal account. That's not at all what I would usually be getting. Usually I'd be getting 50 views, okay, from people that I know. But over the last few months, I have noticed all these other people watching my stories, and I thought, how good of a story person am I? All 400 people watching my stories, finding me, obviously thinking that I'm good, you know, like it makes you feel good, right? What people who are watching your stories, if you've noticed that, then let me know in the comments, type yes, you've noticed that your story views are up or have been up. So yes, story views have gone all the way up, and I've been wondering how people are finding these stories. Is it just that more people are watching stories now? It's just been crazy. And so over the weekend, so anyway, I did some research over the past couple of weeks, and basically what's been happening is, do you remember the days of Instagram where you could find these apps that followed and unfollowed people and grew your Instagram? Yes, I've used them. I have to confess, I told other people to use them. And do you know what? My followers grew when I used them. The problem is that people got a bit annoyed, Instagram didn't like it, and really it's inauthentic. So we've got another one of these follow, unfollow kind of schemes happening, or has happened. So the last few months, and it's called mass story viewing. Okay, it's out of Russia and Eastern Europe. And so a lot of people that you might have seen watching your stories are from that region. And so what they're doing is they're offering services that view people's stories. Because what happens is, you view some stories. I've got my phone here. So when you go and you view your story, right, you can swipe up. Let's just have a look at one of my stories from yesterday. You can swipe up on your story and you can see who's viewed it. Okay, there's about 50 people here who's viewed my story. So then you scroll down and you notice, oh, this person, Alex, has followed my story. So I click on Alex. And I look at her profile and I think, oh, okay, she looks like someone I want to follow, and I follow her, okay? And this is what's happening, or has been happening over the last couple of months, is that there's been these services out there that have been mass story viewing, okay? So it's in the cloud somewhere, and they set themselves up that they will, watch all of these different stories. So depending on hashtags, depending on whatever it is, like what, accounts that people follow or that kind of thing. And so what's happened is that it's just exploded in the last few months. So my story is when it just kind of gradually happened. I was getting over 100 views, and then suddenly I was getting over 200 views, and then 300, and then 400. And I was like, geez, like people are just watching stories. But then on Friday, I put a story up and I went and checked on Saturday and I was like, oh, 30 views, what's the go? And so I was like, oh no, where are my story views gone? But what's happened is Instagram has cracked down again. And so they cracked down on these services and they've shut them all down. And so I've been seeing a lot of talk. I'm in a lot of groups and people who are it's just so emotional because they've lost all of their views and all of this kind of stuff. And so if you're just joining, I'm talking about why your story views might be all the way down, especially after the weekend, because Facebook has cracked it down on some of these services that are doing mass story viewing. And the reason that they're doing it is because they want to grow their accounts. So the more people, strangers that watch your stories, the more you'll click on them and you might follow them and that kind of thing. And so a lot of people are upset. I have to say, I had a moment where I was like, oh, no one's really watching my stories, which is untrue because people are actually watching them. And so I want to tell you the good news, okay? So the bad news is that your Facebook stories views are down. But the good news is that nothing has actually truly changed because those people weren't actually watching your stories in the first place. It was just some thing in the cloud, pretending to watch your stories so that you would go and you would find people and you would follow them and all of that. So actually, in reality, nothing has changed except a number on your screen, okay? And so if you are worried that your that your views are down, after having hundreds of views or that kind of thing, just know that nothing has really changed. You are still the same, you're still showing up, and the same people are still watching your stories. The other numbers that were watching your stories are just numbers. They weren't actually real people. So in saying that, I wanted to go through some of the things that I feel if you really want to grow an authentic following on Instagram through Instagram stories, some of the things that I think are great to be able to share and to be able to grow your Instagram story views authentically, so we can have hundreds of people watching them, but actually hundreds of people who are actually watching them and actually engaging with them and all of that kind of thing. So guys, Instagram stories are one of the best ways that you can interact on Instagram at the moment. So most of you would realize that engagement is actually down on the Instagram feed. So the Instagram feed is what we call this part here, okay? It's when you're scrolling down the page. That's your Instagram feed. And so across the board, Instagram feed engagement is actually down. And so most people these days are actually watching Instagram stories, which are up the top here. Now, Instagram stories compared to the feed, Instagram stories are fast, exciting, engaging. You can automatically engage with people through stickers and things like that. Whereas the Instagram feed is more about branding. Okay, it's more about what you're presenting out there to the world. Whereas Instagram stories is kind of bringing people in behind the scenes a little bit to what you're actually doing kind of every day. So I've got 5 things that I think that you should be sharing on your Instagram stories in order to grow your views, to grow your following, to find your tribe, to find your people, okay? And the first one of those things is behind the scenes content, okay? So when stories first came out, I remember there were heaps of brands, heaps of people that I followed online that I thought I just knew through Instagram. I thought I knew who they are until I started watching their stories. And I heard their voice, I saw their face on camera, and I actually felt like an even deeper connection with them. And that's what happens when you bring somebody behind the scenes of what you're doing. And so some of the content that you're sharing on Instagram stories should be behind the scenes. It should be a peek into the life of your business, your brand, yourself, all of that kind of thing. So it might be a peek into your sessions. You might just set up your camera and you might do a few stories. It might be a peek into what you do every day. So you might do a day in the life kind of Instagram story kind of sequence, so that, one day every week you just take people behind the scenes of what you do every day. You're waking up in the morning, 4 a.m., doing a story. You might be grabbing your morning coffee, do a story about that. You might be doing your morning classes, you do your story about that. You might be then going and doing some admin or meeting with a new client. And so you're just taking people through that behind the scenes, what you're doing all day. And people love this content because it gets them from the branded content, which is beautiful on the feed, into a real, this is a real person, this is a real life, and they start to see how they can fit in to that behind the scenes, okay? So that's the first thing, behind the scenes content you should be sharing on stories. Number 2, you should be teaching people something. Remember, you are the expert in your field and people are following you so they can learn from you, so they can be entertained, but also because you have something to give them. You have something that's worth their time and them following you. So, you can teach a whole lot of things. You might, I've done on my stories and let people decide, what do you guys want me to teach on? I've got 2 topics that I want to talk about. So you can choose this topic or that topic, and then put a poll. And so people have to vote which one. And then you teach on the one that the most people voted for. It gives you 2 things. 1, it tells you people are interested in your content. And 2, it tells you kind of which kinds of content that people are liking from you. And so getting in front of the camera, teaching people something, it's stories. So we want it to keep it short. So it can't be like a half an hour long teaching, but just something small. It might be 3 things that your followers should know about nutrition. It might be teaching them a new technique. It might be teaching them how to recover after class or whatever it is. So there's a lot of different ways that you can teach and a lot of different things you can do. I love to use the stickers when I'm teaching. So I use different things like polls, questions are great. You know, I find that after you do a bit of a teaching, excuse me, after you do a teaching, you can put the question sticker up and you can say, hey, do you have any other questions about this? And people can write the questions in, okay? So that's number 2, what you should be sharing on your Instagram stories. Behind the scenes content, teach something. The third thing is talk about yourself. This isn't something that we always do. And I think we just have this expectation that people already know us. And or people are following us, or, you know, but the reason that people are following you is because they want to know you. Okay, so this can sometimes be hard if you're branded kind of as a business and as a brand, compared to if you're branded as a personal brand. But you know, if you have a brand that is your representation on Instagram, then talk about the people who are in your business. It doesn't always have to be you as the business owner. It might be an employee. It might be an instructor. It might be one of your personal trainers, whoever it is. But you could do things like, what's one thing that people don't know about you? Just one thing, an interesting fact. You could say, you know, what are the 3 things you're loving lately? You know, I was down at the supermarket. I'm loving these vegetable packets, I'm loving this thing, I'm loving this chocolate, whatever it is. So 3 things. And so it's just interesting. People connect with people. They don't necessarily connect with brands, okay? So as much as we like to have our beautiful brands, people still need a person that they can connect with. And so if that can be you as a business owner, if that can be your employees, just make sure that you're talking about yourself in some of these. It's not self-centered. It's just one thing that you can be talking about in your stories. So we had firstly, behind the scenes content. Secondly, teach people something. Thirdly, talk about yourself. The 4th thing, talk about your tribe. So talk about the people who are around your world. You know, your clients, you know, that kind of thing. You know, you probably have success stories. You probably have testimonials that you can share. I've always got fun stories that I like to share about our people. You know, all of our ninjas have great successes. And so I love to just kind of talk about that. And when I say talk about it, I don't necessarily mean that every single story has to be you in front of the camera talking to the camera. So there's so many different ways that you can make stories happen. Talking to the camera is just one of them. You could take a screenshot of something, you could have a photo of that client, and then you could use the writing thing on your phone. So there's a whole lot of different ways that you can make stories happen, and I suggest that you use them all. If you never go on camera and then suddenly you do a couple of stories you speaking to camera, that's something different that your audience has never seen from you. But if you're always on camera and so you want to switch it up, maybe you just do a screenshot of a text message that a client sent to you with a success story, something like that. So when I say talk about it, in any of these concepts, I don't mean that you have to actually go to the camera and do a selfie kind of video or anything like that, okay? So that was number 4. So we have behind the scenes content, that's number 1. Number 2 is teach something. Number 3 is talk about yourself. Number 4 is talk about your tribe. And the 5th thing is something that I don't see people do very often, but it's actually to give an offer or an invitation to work with you. And it's something that I find people get really uncomfortable doing. They find it a little bit awkward. They don't know what to say, those kinds of things. But if you never give people an offer or an invitation to work with you, people are probably never going to take that step unless they're really confident, okay? Because I say this to people all the time when we're working on their websites or when we're working on their Facebook ads. On the internet, I think sometimes we assume people know what to do, but actually they don't. And you have to tell them exactly what you want them to do. So you might have a new class coming up. You might have a new offer, something like that. And all it is just getting on Instagram stories and saying, hey guys, we've got this brand new class. We are so excited about it. You know, I think Sharon, if you're watching, I know you've got your new class happening, and this would be great to get on your stories. You know, you've got this boxing and Pilates kind of like fusion, and you know, I know you're really excited about it. So it's like it could be something like, hey guys, I'm so excited. I love boxing. It's my second favorite from Pilates, and now we're bringing that together. And I just want to let you know we've got this free class running, and I'd love to invite you to come down and give it a try. You know, sales doesn't have to be icky and yuck. It can actually just be an invitation to come and to work with you. And, you know, if you're not doing that constantly, then I think you'll find that you won't be getting that interaction. And sometimes people just need that little bit of like, you know, like next step, like what do I do? I've been watching your stories, and a lot of people say to me, oh, like I just have these people that just watch my stories all the time. No one ever comes and speaks to me in the gym. Yeah, perfect, Sharon, you did it yesterday. Yeah, so, you know, like some people say to me, oh, people watch my stories all the time, and then no one even comes and speaks to me in the gym. Well, what do you expect? If you're just doing stories and you're just putting it out there, like, go and speak to people. You know, people don't always know what to do, and it can be awkward if you've been watching somebody's stories all the time and you're a shy person and you see them in the gym. You can feel a little bit intimidated sometimes. And so you've got to break down those barriers. And so just invite people. You know, if people are watching your stories all the time and they're not speaking to you in the gym, say to them, hey guys, you know, I notice people watch my stories all the time. And I'm thinking maybe I'm a little bit intimidating when I'm in the gym because I see some of you, but I haven't been able to talk to you. So if you ever see me in the gym, just come and just say hello to me. I would really, really love that. It'd be really special to me. You know, instantly you've broken down that barrier, and you'll no longer, because you have to remember that all of our lives, whether it's on social media or whether it's been on TV or radio or, you know, kind of more traditional mediums, the screen is a real barrier. So people who are on screen usually are people that are out of reach from us. It's how we've been brought up. You know, TV personalities, we would never before social media have thought that we could message them or have a conversation with them or anything like that. And so that still rings true for people when they're watching your stories or whether they're seeing you on Instagram, is you seem confident, and sometimes that can be a barrier. So if you want people to speak to you in real life, ask them to do it. And then so they're my 5 things. That was a little bit off topic, but behind the scenes content is really important. Teach something, talk about yourself, talk about your tribe, give people an offer or an invitation to come and work with you. The other thing is, if you're worried that you're not getting the engagement on social media or on Instagram stories, is go out and engage with people. This is my bonus, okay? So if you're in our program, you would have already heard this story, but last week, I wish I bought this hat, but anyway, I've got this company that I bought a beach umbrella from, and they're called Coco Pani. And so I bought it last summer. I follow them, they follow me. They watch my stories. They often kind of send me little emojis in my stories and that kind of thing. And then last week they messaged me and they said, hey, Evelyn, we've got a little surprise for you. What's your address? And I was like, oh, surprise, this is really cool. So anyway, I sent them my address, and they sent me a surprise in the mail, a package, and it was actually a hat. So they've got these branded hats now. And if you know anything about me, you know I love hats. And if you watch my stories, you would know that because I'm always Instagramming about my hat shelf. And so they took note of that. because as a brand, they've been watching the stories of the people that they follow, and they've been interacting with those people, and then now in real life, they've done something really nice and really reciprocal. And so then I went back on their website and I saw now they've got some towels and some other beach stuff, and so I might go and purchase something else. But the point of this story is that if you're not watching other people's stories, if you're not interacting with their stories, if you're not engaging with their stories, don't expect people to engage with your stories. It's not a magic pill, and it's not some magic potion that you can just put stories up there and suddenly people are going to come and engage and talk to you and want to come and work with you. You have to work the stories as well. So you have to get on there and you have to interact with people. You have to interact with their polls and you have to send them emojis and all of that kind of thing. And that all that stuff is reciprocal. So make sure that, you know, as much as your content is amazing, that you actually need to be watching other people's content, engaging with them and interacting with them. So guys, that's it. I just wanted to let you know that your Instagram stories, there's actually nothing wrong with them. So I did start off this live just by saying that there is, or there has been a crackdown on these services called mass story viewing, and that's probably why in the last week you've seen your story views kind of go all the way back down again. But never fear, because those people are actually not watching your stories in the first place. So make sure you really you're building authentic views and authentic following through those 5 kinds of things that I've said to share. And have fun doing stories. I just love stories. I find them so much fun. And I love all the new little things that you can do with them. So guys, hope you had a good one today. I had a lot of fun doing this live. And thank you for joining me. If you liked this, tag somebody in that you think might enjoy it, and guys, have a great rest of the week. We wish you all the best, and we will see you again next Wednesday for Crush Wednesday. I'm pretty sure that I'm snagging Richard to be on Crush Wednesday next week, so stay tuned for that. He is the master of the Crush Wednesdays, and he told me this morning he misses you guys, so he's coming back on the Crush Wednesdays. So anyway, see you guys. Love to you all. Have a great week.
Crush.